The Empty Man is a 2020 American film directed by David Pryor and stars James Badge Dale, Marin, Ireland, and Sasha Frolova. Now, in case you aren't familiar, this film has quite a bit of history behind it, which I'll give you kind of the short version. In 2016, 20th Century Fox bought the rights to the Empty Man graphic novel from the very cool Boom Studios. Fox gave David Pryor a $16 million budget and, had people that actually believed in this project. And at some point, Disney buys 20th Century Fox and didn't really seem to care about the Empty Man at all and pretty much gave it a death sentence, which was just to be dumped in theaters for a very short time and then dumped on streaming eventually. And because of the lack of confidence, concerning this film, it was not screened for critics in advance, from what I've read. And upon release, it was met pretty much largely with negative reviews. And many critics and fans alike seem to have changed their mind in recent years and consider it a future cult classic. Now, I wanted to see this film for quite some time, at least 2-3 years now. And I've only just gotten around to it recently in true Eli fashion. And I have to say, my opinion pretty much lines up with the critics after the film's release. I thought that the 20-minute plus prologue was pretty cool, in which you see 4 characters hiking a mountain. The strange thing is you don't see the characters again, and the rest of the film kind of hardly lines up with this prologue. And normally I'd be fine with that, but that wasn't really where my problems here ended. So one of the hikers ends up falling down a crevice in the mountain and finds some sort of like an ancient cult ritual site. Fast forward some years, and the plot now follows James, a former police officer with a traumatic past. His neighbor's daughter goes missing kind of randomly one day, and he takes a look around her room and finds 2 things that caught his attention. One was the Empty Man Made Me Do It, smeared in blood on the bathroom wall, and the other was a flyer for a place called the Pontifex Institute. So he feels compelled to help find the girl, and he is, an ex-cop after all. Now, I didn't love this film, but I forgot to state exactly why I had been interested in seeing this for the longest time, which would be the H.P. Lovecraft connection. It isn't based on any of Lovecraft's writing, but it is highly influenced in spots, which always has me super interested in pretty much any movie. So you will get some cosmic horror elements and mysterious cults here and stuff like that, and both are treated actually fairly well, and just as they should be. But it's some of the execution, along with some other things that I had a lot of issues with. I really like the fact that so much goes unexplained, because if you have read literally like any of Lovecraft's writing, you know that's most of his stories kind of leave more questions than answers, which oddly enough works amazingly well. Many of his stories are based on things that humans just couldn't possibly understand, much less explain. And you get some of that here. And it is pretty cool. I liked the cult. I found them to be effectively creepy. There's this really cool scene where James is spying on them while they're performing some kind of ritual outside in the woods, and it's probably my favorite part of the film. That's mostly all I really liked about this. Now here's what I didn't like. First, I do mostly like what the mysterious entity looked like. Again, pretty Lovecraftian. But I really didn't care for like the urban legend-esque way that it was portrayed by the local townsfolk, especially like the teenagers and stuff. It was just too Bloody Mary or urban legendy for me, and that just completely took me out of what I thought it should have been as a Lovecraft fan. This element did not work at all, and I hated it. I thought the part where James researches the Pontifex Institute on Wikipedia was just really, really dumb. And honestly, I didn't really like James at all as a lead. His performance was fine. I just didn't like a single thing about the guy. In my opinion, there just weren't really any likable characters that you would grab onto here. I also found most of the third act, at least the second half of the third act, to be just a bit too much. Completely disjointed at times, confusing at others, and I didn't really like the editing either. The look of the film is pretty good, since David Pryor is a very solid director. So I'm giving The Empty Man a 5.5 out of 10. Some people, like I said, are throwing around the future cult classic thing. I guess, but I just don't see it. The film does some cool things, but the final product is a mess, to me at least, and I don't really see myself watching it again. I just really wouldn't want to do that. But the real question is, what did you guys think about it? Cheers, guys.